Hello, how's it going? This video is what I think about synchronicity. I've been getting lots of ideas from Bashar the alien lately, and synchronicity is the way that the aliens work. Pretty crazy. They don't plan for anything. They just do what they want. And I guess if you're working with a channeler, a human channeler, it has to work like that because the channeler, they get together with the people and they set a time and then he goes into his breathing and then the alien has to go, whenever the channeler's ready. But I guess they don't have a problem with that because everything in their life is like that. And I guess with his job it's like that because if he's channeling with other planets, even though he's not there, then he has to work by their schedule too, right? But it makes sense if you look at this world and people who work for themselves, like somebody who, like me, for example. Like me, I do my work whenever I want. So I'm like a night person, so I'm usually up at night until sunrise, and then I go to sleep and sleep until 2. That's like my natural schedule. And it's cool, but sometimes I'll wake up during the day, and say if I had like lots of different ways of making money, like if I was say I was a guy who, say I was a consultant, who answered people's questions on something, and that was my job. So I'm hanging out at home, and but I'm also a gardener, and I'm also scan photos, for example, and I also do web design for people. It's like I have all these different things, and I'm also like a massage therapist. I've got like 6 different jobs. Synchronicity would work great like that because for the jobs that I have where it's my project, like the web design and or it's just me working on a project and something, I can like have that fill in for the jobs where I work with other people, like the massage. And the calls, oh, give me a massage, okay, and then I go, oh, I need you to come over, and then if the phone rings for the consulting, and I could just not answer it, and then they just call the next guy who answers it. And then someone calls me for the consulting, and I've got nothing else to do. It's like, oh, okay, so I answer it. And actually, a lot of my jobs have been like that. But anyways, that is, I guess how that's I think a cool way to go. I think that's the way that we should all go in this life. Synchronize everything, just the way, just whatever you feel like doing at that time, you do, and you do lots of different things. And it makes sense that we're heading towards that direction because people can work out of their houses and they can work with each other from long ways away, so you don't have to be at the office all the time with jobs like that. And even with education, now we've got what's it called? Called online education. So you can do that whatever you want. You don't have to take the class or watch the lecture at this certain time. And so basically, I think we should try and head towards that, a synchronicity type of a life, where you just do lots of things. And that's the other thing is, in the past, we would only do one thing. We'd have like one thing that we were interested in, one subject. So then you would do that. And then you would kind of get fused into doing that. And you would get into a schedule, into a rhythm, into just a pattern of doing that. But the more things that you're interested in, the more things that you're doing, you have to mix it up. And so I think that should be encouraged. Like with me, I have lots of different projects, like internet type projects. I have this timeline I made. I've got like a writing journal that I do whenever I feel like it, like my whole life journal or whatever. I've got like all these different statistics pages, all this weird stuff on my personal website, and then I like make my videos, philosophizing videos, and then like exercise videos, which I'm not doing now because I'm sick. But and then all the job responsibilities, and it's kind of like, but like with my projects, like the timeline, I would do something because I was totally into it for like a month. 3 weeks usually is about how long I can get really into something before I burn out on it. And I usually burn out on it before I'm actually done with it, like before I've tied up the loose ends, and then I'll go do something else, and then I won't finish it, and then I'll go and do something else and I won't finish it. But the thing is I'll come back to it later because I'll suddenly remember that and I'll get burnt out on something else or everything else, and I'll go, oh cool, let me do that one thing and finish it up. So I'll be just as excited on that as I was when I first worked on it. So I'm never burning out on anything because as soon as I burn out on one thing, I get just as excited about doing the other thing. I actually call it maximum to maximum. Do this maximum until you get tired, and then you move to something else and do that maximum until you get tired, but you don't finish it. But you're always working at your max. And because you're working at your max, you're getting the most done. And you're having the most fun. As opposed to, this idea of like, don't stop something until you actually finish it. Even if it has to be hard. Because that's what a lot of old philosophy is. I remember I had a college professor. It's actually the same guy who failed me out of the education department. There was a class with him and he goes, something about how, school shouldn't be fun, you gotta just do it even though it's not fun. And I was like, wait, no, if you're not having fun, you're not gonna learn. And I guess, people were kind of like, you have to be tough, you have to fight through it. You have to be hard and, put your nose to the grindstone and work an all-nighter and all this stuff, because you've got this class or you've got this test tomorrow at 8, so you have to study for it now, or the paper's due tomorrow at 8, even though they only told you what the paper was going to be on, like 2 days ago. Like that's what college was for me, is the teacher wouldn't know what your final paper was supposed to be on or what your test was going to be on until like 2 days beforehand. So it's like you've got these little windows. So you're working on somebody else's schedule. I've got this. So then you're forced all the time to have to keep your nose to the grindstone, even if that's not vibing with you at that time. That's not your cycle. So the synchronicity, I think, is kind of like the idea of synchronicity. And it also goes along with following your joy, is working on your own schedule and not somebody else's schedule. So the way that schools, colleges are now right now, or the way I was when I was at the school is bad. I don't think classes and tests should be on a certain day. It should be whenever you want to take it, whenever your time to do it is. And interesting. Now the other part of synchronicity is like different. Like the metaphysical part of it, like showing that maybe your higher self really is in charge and shows you things. And for me, like people were talking about numbers and stuff, and I actually believe that because I have seen it in my life so many times. It's insane. Like there's the number 420. Now 420 for me is a big number for me because I've always been a big stoner. My friends have been stoners. And also politically, I don't understand the concept of marijuana being illegal. I think it should be legal because, it's a plant that God made, all this stuff. So that number comes up. And it's always coming up. Like today, I looked at my watch, and I hadn't seen my watch for hours, and it was 4:20:02. 2 seconds after 4:20. Pretty crazy. And that happens all the time. I'm always looking at my watch, and it's always 4:20. I make a video. A bunch of my videos on YouTube are exactly 4 minutes and 20 seconds, just out of accidentally. I was in Australia riding my bike. I hadn't looked at my watch for hours. I looked at my watch, it was 4:20:00, and then I took the watch away before it turned 4:21. And also, like, my dad passed away January 4th, 2007. And my mom goes, oh, well, let's look at what time it was. Oh, look, 4:20. I was like, oh my God. So, anyways, stuff's real, man. So basically, you should have faith and also, yeah, have faith. Like my philosophy about trusting myself. Actually, I'm gonna have a part two